Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Thrive, Not Just Survive. This is episode number 5, and I hope that you guys are all well. Today is Good Friday, and I know that things are different, right? This is probably a day where you would have done something different with your family, and you may have certain things that you were used to in tradition for today. And yes, things are different, and I hope that you are embracing that with still love and compassion, and reaching out to family members, and creating a space for yourself that you can feel like you are commemorating Good Friday. So today I'm really excited because I'm bringing on a guest, a dear friend of mine and my mortgage consultant who I work with. So I wanted to bring her on today because I've had quite a few clients emailing me with questions about mortgages, refinancing, the real estate market. And today I thought, it's a good idea to have somebody on that can walk us through the process. So let me introduce to you Angela Jenkins. Angela, welcome to the broadcast, and I'm so grateful that you were able to make time for us today.
You are welcome. Thank you for having me, Nazira. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks, Angela. Tell us a little bit about sort of how you've been feeling and as a business owner, but also just as a member in the community, of how this has really hit you or come to you in terms of how you're running your day-to-day life and business.
So it's definitely not business as usual. The office is closed to the public. All our agents are working remotely from their home offices. I was handling it pretty well from a personal perspective up until, I guess, on Monday of this week. I drove to town. I had to pick some files up from the office, and I was driving past the bank, and I saw all the people with face masks on and sort of doing the social distancing. And I think at that point, that was the first time it really, really hit me on a personal level. Not as a business owner, not as a mortgage broker. It was like, wow, this is enormous. I drove home upset, tearful, crying, uneasy. I felt like the whole world was doom, and it really, really sort of hit me on a personal level throughout this whole COVID-19 thing. And it took me a long time over that Monday to bring my head back to a space where I could try and be useful again. I've got other mortgage agents that are dependent upon me to help them get through this. And it really, really hit me hard on Monday. And that was the first time I think I'd had an emotional breakdown about it. So yeah, I went through my emotions. I kind of got back to as normal as can be in these times, and then started to realize, yeah, I am normal, I am human, and I'm going to experience these emotions just like everybody else out there. So
absolutely,
that's when it hit me hard, was on Monday. I did get over it, and I am back to as normal as can be, trying to help people, advise people what to do, when they're experiencing financial loss. How can they sort of keep paying their mortgage? What's out there? What can they do? So, that's kind of where we're back to now, and answering the phones and the emails, to try and assist people.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing, you said something, right? Like, we all have these breakdowns because this is not something we are used to or prepared for. And, that's just a reality of all of us, right? We're in this together. I do believe in my heart of hearts that we're going to get through this together, and this is where we support each other and the people in our families, our communities, and just the globe at large by staying home and, social distancing. So let me ask you, I know there's a lot of information out there in terms of government supports and things like this for what people can do. But from your end, can you guide us through how people can look at the mortgage deferrals or refinancing at this point in time, if they are in a position where maybe things aren't going as well, in their finances, if they've lost their job or unemployment?
Okay, so lenders are still lending,
okay,
albeit differently. Some certain mortgage products have sort of been scaled back. I know from a refinance perspective, a lot of lenders are scaling back, whereas prior to COVID-19, we could refinance up to 80% of the value of the home. As a result of COVID-19, some lenders have scaled that back to 75% or 70%. Rental properties, lenders have been very, very strict on refinancing rentals right now, because tenants are having issues paying their rent. So, it affects the landlord, right? So they are scaling back the loan to value. If you are still employed and you haven't lost your job or you haven't been laid off, then it is business as usual for now. That's changing on a daily basis as the essential services list is changing. The lenders are changing what they will and won't lend to specific industries. Obviously, if you're, again, not affected, you're not laid off, it's business as usual. But sadly, if you are laid off and you don't have a return to work date, the lenders are not lending to those borrowers. So that's your banks. Alternative lenders, again, they're being a little bit more careful. They are still lending, albeit scaled back and cautious. We have seen an increase in interest rates as well. I mean, although the Bank of Canada has reduced the prime rate down, interest rates have gone back up. A few weeks ago, we were getting a 5-year fixed mortgage at sort of, 2.29 or what have you. That's now gone back up to the more normal sort of 2.69, 2.79. And people are confused. Well, if the Bank of Canada have reduced their prime rate, why are the interest rates, sort of up where they are? So there's a lot of confusion out there with regards to that. If you have lost your job or if you're self-employed and your cash flow has reduced, you can apply for CERB, the Canadian Emergency Response Benefit. If you're a self-employed individual, that will give you $2,000 per month. It is taxable and you do have to apply for it monthly, I believe. And I believe that they are advising, depending on your birth date, as to when's the best day to apply. Yesterday being Thursday was sort of September, October, November month. So to just keep your eye on that, go onto the government websites, servicecanada.ca. They've got a lot of information on there for self-employed individuals and employed individuals. Don't be ashamed to apply for EI right now, because it's being offered, it's there. If you need it, take it. Deferring your mortgage payment. I know a lot of people, the banks right now are so backlogged. I've had clients of mine call and say, I've been on hold for sort of 4 or 5 hours. And as frustrating as what it is, have some patience. These guys are out there just as confused as us, just as worried. They're trying to help us in a time that is not normal for them either. None of us have been through this before. So if you are trying to defer your mortgage payment, have the patience with the lenders. They are there to help. If you can avoid deferring your mortgage payment, I would strongly advise you to do that. Yes, it's an option, but take it as an option as the last resort. Don't just do it because you can. If you don't need to, I strongly suggest not to, if you can avoid doing so. And I know that's easier said than done. When you've got a mortgage payment due, communicate with your lenders. That is the best advice I can give to you. Even if you can't defer your mortgage payment, call your lenders and explain to them, listen, the money may not be there on the 20th of this month or whatever. And if you pre-arrange for them to maybe take it out a week later or 2 weeks later when you know that the funds are going to be there, lenders are more than willing to help right now. They are aware that this is odd and it's not normal, and they know that people are struggling out there. So communicate. Communication is key, is the best advice.
Can I just ask you a question in this deferral? If you can just explain to people why it's not the greatest idea or, last resort to defer, because how it works in terms of they attach it at the end or in terms of the interest that a person would pay would be greater, right? So I just want people to understand why the deferral it's not like a mortgage forgiveness, right?
It's different each lender, right? So this is why it's very important to communicate with your lender depending on who holds your mortgage. Some lenders are expecting you to pay just the interest. Some are putting it to the back and then you pay interest on interest, right? And that's why it's not a good idea. If you have called your lender and they've explained the mortgage deferral process to you and you don't understand it, give us a call and we'll explain it to you. Sort of write down what the lender has said to you, tell us what they've said, and we'll explain it to you in plain English, so to speak, because every lender's different and some borrowers are not interpreting what the lenders are saying because they don't understand the terminology or the lingo. So that's causing a lot of confusion as well. So, definitely if you have called your lender lender and they have explained the deferral process to you and you're not sure, please reach out to somebody who can assist you, because it's not an easy process to understand, but it does become, the interest is cumulative, right? So just be careful.
Okay. And I want to ask you, because I have had quite a few clients that have already bought and sold, and they're asking me, like, what happens now? My closing is not till, May or June. And will it close? Will the banks, be open? Will the funds get transferred? Land registry, like all of these things. Can you kind of guide those people that have already done the transaction? It's a firm deal.
Absolutely. So lawyers are still trading. They can now close a deal remotely, whereas pre-COVID times they had to meet face to face. They don't have to do that now. They can close a deal remotely. So that's good news. When, for yourself, real estate kind of has changed. You can't show homes and so on and so forth. Lawyers are still working and they are still closing deals. Appraisals might be different. If you're in a situation where you haven't had an appraisal done yet, that could be tricky, whereby appraisers are not allowed to go into the homes anymore. So they're relying on automated valuation models, or desktop appraisals as they're called, or they're having to do a drive-by, look through windows, and that may affect the value because they're not being able to get into the homes and get a true picture as to what the home is. So that's proving to be a little tricky right now. We have had a few appraisals come in slightly undervalued just because they can't get into the home. So that could pose a problem if your client's still in that situation where there's an appraisal required. But lawyers are still closing deals. Land registry, a lot of that is done remotely anyway. So, that shouldn't tie up your deal. FCT or these closing partners that the lenders use are still working remotely and from home. So that is all fine. That is still going ahead.
Okay.
So and should close.
Right. And I know this is probably something that, and I'm just sort of thinking ahead, if there was things that, as we evolve with whatever is being released, right? If there was an issue with perhaps a mortgage that had been already confirmed and now there's an issue, is there something that, our clients or whoever's listening can call you and get some guidance in that way? Absolutely.
I mean, if a lender has pulled a pre-approved commitment, so to speak, because maybe that person was an essential service and now he's not an essential service. If a lender has done an employment check and they've sort of said, well, yeah, sorry, we're not now funding this deal because you don't have a return to work date or what the case may be, give us a call. It's not going to be easy to put right. We may have to get some sort of private mortgage so that the deal can close. And then when things do settle down, we can definitely then look at refinancing that private mortgage to get you back to that lender who had originally approved the deal. So that is happening. I had a few of my own deals collapse last week. I had some construction workers that were still deemed essential, and then after last weekend, they're now not deemed essential. So the mortgages got pulled. So, it is tough, but again, communication. Call some people who might be able to help you. Give us a shout, and like I said, we may be able to close it privately for you temporarily until we can sort of get over this hurdle here.
That's excellent. So can you just give me your phone number? I'm just going to have it scroll across. If somebody wants to reach out to you, maybe they have some other questions that we didn't address today. Just tell me the number that they can reach you at.
Absolutely. It's 905-872-7283. And that's my direct cell.
Excellent. I will add that. And so if anybody wants to reach you, they can call you directly with any questions.
7283. You put 7287.
This is what happens when I'm working on the fly here. So let me just change that again. So it's 905
872.
Yep.
7283.
83. Let's see if I can get this right. So I really appreciate you coming on, because I think that, I've been talking all week about, just people trying to get a better mindset, trying to get a grip on just feeling better and not the panic and the worry. And I've been, sort of giving people suggestions on how to do that. But I've had so many this week that have asked because I'm a realtor, people asking me real estate questions and these things that are coming up now with the new rules and the new things that, like you said, some essential workers are being pulled from the essential list. So, I thought it was a good way for us to give the information out to whoever is watching or needs it. Please, if you're watching on replay, hashtag replay. And if you're watching it live, share it. You never know who's out there that may not have caught it, or maybe an essential worker, maybe is working and needs to hear this. So I'd appreciate if you guys could share it. Angela is around. Angela is a local agent or broker in Orangeville, but you do service all different areas, correct? Like the house can be wherever, but your office is in Orangeville, right? So I really appreciate your time and your wisdom. And of course, over the years, you've really guided me and my clients. So from that perspective, we're very grateful. And that, like you said, we're all in this together. We are going to get through it, but it's one day at a time. Do you have any last sort of closing remarks for our clients in terms of wherever they are in their life at this point?
Just, you know what, none of us are experienced at dealing with what we're going through. We are all in this together, and it is literally day to day. For us, from a mortgage broker perspective, every day we get updates from all the lenders. Now we're doing this, now we're not doing this, now we're doing that. So it's a learning curve for us too. I've been in the business 14 years and never experienced this. So, when you are feeling down and when you do get those down days, that you want to cry and you feel that doom, just like what I did on Monday, it's perfectly normal to feel that way. Don't bury your head in the sand. Reach out and talk to people. A problem shared is a problem halved. And, we are there to help. And if you just need a shoulder to cry on or somebody to bend an ear to, please, reach out. Don't go through this by yourself. There are people out there to help you. We're all in this together.
Thank you so much. And I know this has been extremely helpful. I know that, people are feeling this kind of doom and gloom. And as they're going through it, it's nice to hear that, they can reach out. There are professionals. We're all working still, though be it from home, or, the contact is different. We're doing Zoom calls, and I'm sure you're doing them as well. And just trying to get people, handled, like their situations handled. So again, I really appreciate your time, your wisdom, and I wish you a wonderful Easter weekend. I hope you and your family are well, and I will see you again soon. I'm sure I will have you, if you're okay with that, I'll have you back as things get updated.
Absolutely. Yep. You got my number. Call me if you need me.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you, people, for watching. And remember, hashtag replay if you've watched this on replay. Appreciate your time. Have a great weekend.
Thanks. You too. Bye.